Back when TV antennas needed a prayer and a good whack to work, boomers ruled the remote, if you could even call it that. From laugh tracks louder than your dad's snoring to cliffhangers that had people genuinely yelling at their screens, classic TV wasn't just a pastime, it was a whole personality. But can Gen Z even handle the suspense of waiting a whole week for the next episode? Spoiler alert, not likely. Captain Kangaroo. Do you remember those early mornings with Captain Kangaroo? Of course, how could you forget? His calm, gentle voice felt like a warm hug.
It's definitely not a bored, nothing-to-do day. It's a get-out-and-get-going day.
Welcoming kids into the day. Much unlike what we have today, it was not some loud cartoon with crazy action, just simple, comforting stories and friendly chats. Oh, and remember the characters? Mr. Green Jeans and Bunny Rabbit. Captain Kangaroo had this magical way of making you feel like you were in the room with him, and every kid knew it was time to sit back, relax, and let Captain take over. Let's face it, we may never get anything quite like that anymore. When you remember it, it'll make you want to whistle in nostalgia, but not as much as this next memory.
I love you all. You too. And you too. And me too.
Andy Griffith's whistling theme song. That whistling theme used to send shivers down the spine, didn't it? As soon as it started, you could almost picture Andy and Opie walking hand in hand down a dirt path, fishing poles over their shoulders, off to some peaceful spot by the water. The tune was not only catchy, it captured everything the show was about: simplicity, family, and the warmth of small-town life. It may have been lighthearted, but it's hard to forget. It instantly transported you to a world where the biggest problems could be solved with a friendly chat or a trip to the local diner. Once you heard it, it was like a promise that for the next 30 minutes, all was right with the world. But not as right as Saturday mornings with your favorite cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons! How was it for you? Just you, a big bowl of cereal, and the TV all to yourself. The Flintstones kicked things off with that prehistoric humor. Fred and Barney were like old friends getting into trouble. Then came Scooby-Doo, where you and the gang solved mysteries together, always wondering who was really behind the mask. And the Jetsons. That was a glimpse of the future we all thought we'd have by now, with flying cars and robot helpers. Well, maybe we're getting close anyways. But those mornings weren't just about watching cartoons, they were a ritual. No streaming or reruns, just that one time a week to catch your favorite characters. It was like a mini escape, and every boomer remembers those moments like they were yesterday. Dragnet's deadpan delivery. Now remember this? Sergeant Joe Friday had that deadpan style that was all business. Just the facts, ma'am. No fluff, no nonsense. He wasn't about flashy gadgets or over-the-top action. He was all about keeping it steady, sticking to the facts, and letting the clues speak for themselves. If you're a boomer, there was something so refreshing about his straightforward grit. And the catchphrase would always make you smile like you're probably doing right now. It was definitely not just a phrase. You knew exactly what you were getting with Joe Friday. A guy who didn't mess around, just solved the case one fact at a time. Mr. Rourke on Fantasy Island. Remember Mr. Rourke, played by Ricardo Montalban? Every episode kicked off with Tattoo calling out, "The plane, the plane," signaling that new guests and new mysteries were about to land. It was exciting. Mr. Rourke was the ultimate host, always calm, classy, and just mysterious enough to make you wonder what he knew that no one else did. Each guest's adventure was unpredictable, with dreams turning into unexpected lessons, and Rourke was right there, guiding things with that smooth, knowing smile. It was TV magic that made us think twice about what we really wished for. Goodnight, John Boy on the Waltons. Who can forget that iconic Goodnight, John Boy from the Waltons? It started out as a line, but it turned into a sweet little ritual. You'd see each family member say goodnight, and it always felt so genuine. It made you feel like you were right there with them, part of their close-knit family. For us boomers, it hit home, right? It reminded us of our own family routines. gathering around the table for dinner, sharing the highs and lows of the day, and then winding down together. Each good night felt like a cozy hug, reinforcing those bonds of love and support we all cherish. In the end, the Waltons gave us a peek into a world where family truly mattered. When they tucked in John Boy with that simple phrase, it was like they were tucking us in too, making us feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Honestly, who wouldn't want to be part of that loving crew? It's those little moments that stick with us. The line from Saturday Night Live.
It's Saturday Night
Live from New York, it's Saturday night. That iconic line kicked off Saturday Night Live and instantly set the stage for a night of laughs. It was the ultimate weekend tradition. You'd gather around the TV knowing you were in for something fresh and hilarious, whether it was a spot-on parody or a ridiculous skit. The energy was electric, and the show became a launching pad for some of the biggest names in comedy. Who could forget the wild antics of the not-ready-for-prime-time players? They pushed boundaries and tackled everything from politics to pop culture, making us laugh while making us think. SNL was more than just a show. It was a cultural phenomenon. It shaped the way we saw comedy and brought the week's news right into our living rooms in a way that was both funny and relatable. Those late-night laughs became a staple in our lives, and even today, that opening line brings back a flood of nostalgic memories. Carol Burnett's hilarious costumes and skits. She had us in stitches, especially with that classic Gone with the Wind curtain rod dress. And those The Family skits? Carol Burnett and her cast brought those characters to life in a way that felt both hilarious and real, turning family squabbles into comedy gold. Only boomers remember that the Carol Burnett Show was a must-watch. Along with Tim Conway, Harvey Korman, and Vicki Lawrence, the show made every episode feel like a comedy masterclass. They broke character, cracked each other up, and let us laugh right along with them. In the end, it was more than just a performance or just a show for laughs. Somehow, the show made us feel like part of the fun. There is no doubt that her show was one of the true highlights of TV comedy. They don't make them like that anymore. Charlie's Angels.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little girls who went to the police academy.
Who could forget Charlie's Angels and their iconic feathered hair? Those ladies brought style and fierceness to detective work like never before. Farrah Fawcett, Jacqueline Smith, and Kate Jackson weren't just solving crimes. They were doing it with confidence and a killer fashion sense. Charlie's Angels was a game changer. The Angels had brains, beauty, and serious attitude, breaking the mold of what female characters could be on TV. Each week, they took down the bad guys with grace, smarts, and that unforgettable 70s style. They made every case look like an adventure and made us all wish we could rock feathered hair just as well. Batman Dynamic Duo. If you're a fan of Batman, you'd surely remember the days of Adam West and Burt Ward. They turned Gotham City into a campy, colorful adventure, battling villains with that over-the-top style that was just plain fun. With every pow and bam splashed across the screen, they brought comic book action to life in a way we hadn't seen before. Adam West's straight-faced Batman and Burt Ward's wide-eyed Robin were a perfect pair, giving us thrills and laughs in equal measure. If you read the comics, you'd find that they embodied the characters so well. It was pure escapism to watch them. Tuning in to watch the dynamic duo take down the bad guys with crazy gadgets, corny lines, and a wink to the audience is something that can't be forgotten in a hurry. Matt Dillon from Gunsmoke. He was the ultimate Old West Marshal in Gunsmoke, wasn't he? Every week he kept Dodge City in line with a steady hand and a serious sense of justice. For us boomers, Dillon was the real deal, tough, fair, and always ready to stand up to outlaws, no matter the odds. Played by the legendary James Arness, Dillon wasn't just another cowboy. He brought depth to the role, showing a lawman with grit, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to his town. Watching him on Gunsmoke felt like stepping into the Old West, where good and bad were clear-cut, and the hero always fought to keep peace in Dodge City. It was classic Western TV at its best. Edith and Archie Bunker's duet. Never before has there been such an amazing duet right before an episode plays. Archie and Edith Bunker's duet, "Those Were the Days," which kicked off All in the Family, was so wonderful to listen to. Archie's gruff voice and Edith's high-pitched warble were perfectly mismatched, but that was part of the charm. For all of those who know, that song was more than just a theme. It reminds us of simpler times back when life felt less complicated and everyone seemed to know their place in the world. The duet would set the tone for each episode, playful yet honest. Right before Archie took on whatever hot-button issue was on his mind, All in the Family didn't just make us laugh, it made us think, all while keeping us grounded in the Bunker's quirky, imperfect, and oh-so-relatable family life. Red Skelton's characters. From the lovable goof, Clem Cadiddlehopper, to the hobo with a heart, Freddie the freeloader, Skelton's cast of characters brought joy to families everywhere. He had this rare gift for making each character feel relatable and unique, filling every sketch with warmth and humor. Skelton could crack you up with a simple look or gesture, and his comedy was clean, clever, and perfect for all ages. Watching him was like a masterclass in comedy, and for boomers, those characters still bring back warm memories of family laughter. Live long and prosper greeting on Star Trek.
Live long and prosper.
That Vulcan greeting, paired with his famous split-fingered salute, is one of those phrases that instantly takes us back. Spock's iconic catchphrase was a profound sentiment, carrying the spirit of hope and goodwill. To all those who know, Spock was far from just a mere character. He was the voice of reason in a universe full of chaos. With his logical mind and calm demeanor, he navigated intergalactic conflicts and philosophical dilemmas, reminding us that there's value in logic and understanding. Every time he said, "Live long and prosper," it felt like he was sharing a universal wish for peace and longevity, not just for himself, but for everyone. The Fonz's thumbs up. Let's talk about the Fonz from Happy Days. He was the coolest character on the show, always dressed in his leather jacket and exuding charm. His signature move? That iconic thumbs up. Whenever he gave that gesture, it was like a signal that something great was coming. You'd see him snap his fingers, and instantly, you knew he was about to make something awesome happen, whether it was saving the day or getting the attention of his crush, Pinky Tuscadero. The Fonz's confidence and coolness was like the spirit of the 70s, making him a beloved symbol of that era. Lucy's chocolate factory scene. This moment is a hilarious gem that everyone remembers. Lucy and her best friend Ethel get jobs at a chocolate factory, and things quickly spiral out of control. There was a conveyor belt filled with chocolates, and it starts moving faster than they can handle. As they try to wrap each piece, they end up stuffing chocolates in their mouths, their aprons, and anywhere they can. The chaos and physical comedy are simply priceless. Their frantic efforts to keep up and the outrageous situations they find themselves in are what make this scene pure comedy gold. This moment perfectly showcases Lucy's knack for getting into trouble and Ethel's willingness to join her antics. Their chemistry and timing have left a lasting impact on television history, reminding us of the magic that happens when two talented actresses deliver unforgettable performances. Even today, it still makes us laugh and captures the essence of classic TV comedy. The Brady Bunch's family theme song.
Here's the story.
You know that theme song, don't you? Every time it starts, you can't help but smile and maybe even sing along a bit. The catchy intro welcomed us into the lives of this blended family, bringing together two households with kids from different backgrounds. The song perfectly showed us what family life is like, teaching us that it doesn't always have to be traditional to be wonderful. As the catchy tune plays, we're introduced to the characters, Mike, Carol, and their 6 kids, all living under one roof. It highlights the fun and chaos of a big family, with everyone learning to get along, love each other, and share life's ups and downs. That theme song is a nostalgic reminder of the importance of family, no matter how unconventional it may be. It set the stage for countless memorable episodes, making us feel like we were part of the Brady family every time we watched. The Jetsons' futuristic family. Let's take a trip back to the Jetsons, shall we? This animated show gave us a fun and exciting look at the future, and for boomers, it was like a window into what life might be like in a tech-savvy world. The Jetson family, George, Jane, Judy, Elroy, and their lovable robot maid, Rosie, introduced us to a life filled with flying cars, space-age gadgets, and all sorts of futuristic inventions. Just imagine zipping around in a car that flies instead of drives. And Rosie, the robot maid, was ahead of her time, making household chores a breeze with her witty personality and efficient skills. But what made the Jetsons so memorable was how it blended humor with the hope of what technology could achieve. It inspired dreams of a high-tech lifestyle, making us wonder if we'd really have flying cars and smart homes one day. Even today, as we see advancements in technology, we can't help but think back to that optimistic vision of the future that the Jetsons painted for us. It was a fun reminder that while we might not be living in a flying car just yet, the spirit of innovation is always around the corner. Bewitched's nose wiggle. That little move became one of the most iconic gestures in television history. Whenever Samantha, played by the charming Elizabeth Montgomery, wiggled her nose, you knew something magical was about to happen. It was the perfect blend of whimsy and charm, capturing the imagination of viewers young and old. Just a quick wiggle, and poof, a messy situation was fixed. A delicious meal was prepared, or some chaos was transformed into order. When we watched, it made us wish we could have that kind of power in our everyday lives. Imagine being able to make chores disappear or turn an ordinary day into an adventure with just a twitch of our noses. The Twilight Zone's creepy narration.
To the Twilight Zone.
Rod Serling and his eerie voice was the perfect way to kick off each episode, setting the stage for the mind-bending stories that followed. As he introduced us to the strange and unusual, you could almost feel a chill run down your spine. Serling had this incredible ability to draw us into worlds that challenged our perceptions of reality. With every twist and turn in the plot, we found ourselves questioning what was real and what wasn't. His narration created an atmosphere of suspense and intrigue that kept us glued to our screens, wondering what bizarre scenario we would encounter next. Happy Trails with Roy Rogers. Now let's saddle up and reminisce about Roy Rogers, the legendary cowboy who brought the Wild West right into our living rooms. With his trusty horse, Trigger, by his side, Roy was the cowboy hero, and for boomers, watching him was like stepping into a grand adventure. Every episode was filled with thrilling escapades, musical numbers, and a strong sense of justice. Roy's signature songs like Happy Trails weren't just catchy tunes, they became anthems of friendship and adventure. His ability to strum a guitar and belt out a song while effortlessly riding Trigger made every episode feel like a joyful celebration of cowboy life. For many, those Saturday afternoons spent watching Roy Rogers are cherished memories of childhood that evoke a sense of nostalgia for a time when the Wild West was alive and well in our imaginations. Maz-He's theme song. That hauntingly beautiful tune perfectly captured the show's unique blend of humor and heartfelt moments. While the series was a comedy set during the Korean War, the song's lyrics were deeply reflective, touching on the complexities of life, loss, and the realities of war. Hearing that theme song was a signal to sit back and prepare for an episode that could make us laugh one minute and tug at our heartstrings the next. The Partridge Family's musical adventures. This show was all about fun, family, and music, and it captured the hearts of us boomers as we followed the family on their musical road trips. Every episode was an adventure, whether they were performing at a local gig or navigating the ups and downs of family life in their colorful bus. The catchy songs they sang, like I Think I Love You, were not just hits on the show but became chart toppers in real life, making us want to sing along. It was impossible not to get caught up in the infectious energy of their music. The Love Boat's romance and fun. For boomers, this show was the perfect escape, allowing us to dream of sun-soaked vacations and the thrill of new relationships. As the ship glided through the ocean, we followed various guests, each with their own love stories and challenges, whether it was a chance encounter, rekindling an old flame, or navigating the ups and downs of romance. The Love Boat never failed to deliver heartwarming tales. The charming crew, led by Captain Steubing, always made sure that love was in the air, adding to the show's irresistible charm. The colorful settings, fun musical numbers, and guest stars made every episode feel like a delightful getaway. The Cosby Show's family. With Cliff and Claire Huxtable at the helm, this show beautifully showcased relatable family moments that many of us could connect with, whether we were parents, kids, or somewhere in between. The dynamics of the Huxtable family were heartwarming and real. From the playful banter between Cliff and Claire to the life lessons shared with their 5 children, the show celebrated love, education, and the ups and downs of parenting in a way that resonated with viewers. We saw everything from sibling rivalries to heartfelt conversations at the dinner table, reminding us that family life is full of both challenges and joy. Little House on the Prairie's pioneer life. Watching the Ingalls family navigate life on the prairie was more than just entertainment. It was a beautiful reminder of resilience and the importance of family values. Set in the late 1800s, each episode took us through the challenges and triumphs of pioneer life, from farming and building their home to facing harsh winters and community struggles. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood's Gentle Lessons. Fred Rogers was like a warm hug in TV form, and his gentle approach to educating kids left a lasting impact on all of us boomers. Each episode was more than just a show. It was a safe space where children could learn important life lessons about kindness, acceptance, and understanding their emotions. Fred had a unique way of speaking directly to his young audience, making each child feel seen and heard. Whether he was introducing us to new friends, exploring imaginative worlds, or discussing feelings like sadness or anger, he did it with such grace and sensitivity. The Bob Newhart Show's unique humor. What set the Bob Newhart Show apart was its clever writing and the way it tackled the quirks of human behavior. Each episode felt like a hilarious therapy session where Bob would calmly navigate the often absurd issues presented by his patients. From neurotic clients to hilariously bizarre situations, Bob's reactions and deadpan delivery added layers of comedy that kept audiences in stitches.